First, go to Nityananda Prabhu, and by his grace you will go to Mahaprabhu. Strictly stick to Gaur Leela, Mahaprabhu, and you will automatically find within your heart that Radha Rasa Sundhanidhi is flowing. Don't attempt directly to have it. It will come automatically, spontaneously. Yada yada Gaura Paravinda. You are not. You give. You give. Yada yada Gaura Paravinda Vindeta Bhaktim Gita Punyarasi Tata Tato Sabdhi Rite Akasmat Radha Padam Bhoja Sutam Rashi. As devotion under the lotus feet of Sri Gaurasunda is attained by a greatly pious person, inevitably the ocean of nectar, which is the service of the lotus feet of Sri Radha, is accordingly born within his heart. This is some Chaitanya Chandramrita. Persuaded by the mercy of Sri Gauranga, try to approach Srimati Radharani. Then there will be no possibility of any contamination entering our heart and disturbing us in that plane. Sri Gauranga will impede that contamination. We have the shelter of Sri Gauranga. We can be sure that we will very safely, smoothly, and intimately attain the service of Srimati Radharani. Otherwise, it is very dangerous and sometimes suicidal. If we do not approach through Sri Gauranga, the attempt will be reactionary. It is very dangerous to approach even Darwin and Srimati Radharani directly. We must approach as recommended by Sri Gauranga. In other words, if we can appreciate the life of Sri Gauranga, the ideal of Sri Gauranga, then karma, mundane desire, will be exhaustively eliminated. We will be purified so that we can be accepted in that domain of the highest Leela. We shall not approach intellectually, for that will fill us with misconceptions. We'll have to expend much energy to do away with that layer of misunderstanding. Therefore, our Srila Prabhupada did not allow these things. We must do our duty in our plane according to what we deserve, and the result will come naturally. That is his instruction for all time, not only temporarily, but for all time. Don't approach directly, for then we will get Maya instead of Yoga Maya. So Krishna knows it perfectly well. Radharani knows perfectly well when we are to be taken into the confidential area. That cannot be acquired other than by their sweet will. The flow of her sweet will or his sweet will. Try to have the real thing, not any imitation or reflection. Reflection and shadow, these two kinds of misconceptions may appear. Of the two, reflection is more dangerous. We are cautioned often. Don't try, it will come automatically. Go on with the program given by the Shastra and the Guru, and it will happen. If you have such a possibility of fortune, then it will come to you. It is not a material experience that can be given to one and all. It is not to be tackled in such a way. Yada yada Gaura Vadaravinde. Engage your full attention in Gaura Lila, and your realization will come automatically. Indirectly, it will come to you from the higher domain. When the higher realm is pleased, it will come down for some time to give you the experience, and you will simply be astonished. Then even when it departs or is withdrawn, you will have nothing to lament. Realization is a living thing. We cannot make it our object. It is such a high reality, such a high thing. It is difficult to participate in the intimacy between an ordinary man and his closest friends. And so it is with the Leela of the Supreme Lord. How can we dare enter into those pastimes? And publicly, it is more so. It is not possible. Externally, we can try to give some description of the outer possibilities, but not the actual thing. So we won't venture to enter there. Yeah, could you follow? Other follow? I don't know how far we are away from this path. It is sad when we are not able to catch these things. When Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu talked about the higher Leelas, he was in a trance. He gave a description of his wonderful direct experience of Krishna Leela. Several times we find that sort of deep Leela, the higher Krishna Leela, related by Mahaprabhu himself. The Govardhan Leela, the Jalakeli Leela, when he jumped unconscious into the ocean and for hours was carried by the waves of the sea to Jagatirtha. from Swagata. You know this in Puri? Yes, Haridas Thakur Samadhi in this area, Swagata. And the Jakajita is where Buddha and Maharaj has his temple. You know that? Are you there with us? Huh? The Jalakeli of Krishna, the Leela and Chataka Bhavata. The nature of those descriptions was not an academic endeavor, learned from a book. Such experience cannot be written in black and white. It cannot be read and narrated as a bookish thing. It is real. This is the secret that we have to discover. That Harikatha spoken by pure devotees is not, you cannot catch with your intellect. It is real. We experienced this with, we saw this in higher devotees, like our Gurudev, like is told also about Prabhupada. And all those who are living and have entrance into this higher, in the reality, they are experiencing, they are there. So in Harinam Chintamani it is stated that the temptation may come. But we must not think that everything can be encompassed by our limited intellect. Achindya kalu ye bahava natam stakena yojayat. That which is inconceivable we may not place under the jurisdiction of reason. So not by logic or by intellect we cannot come close to this reality, to this higher transcendental plane, or lila. When the inconceivable is extended to us, we will be astounded with a mere glance. Nadamstakena yojayat. Don't attempt to drag the inconceivable in the zone of reason. The higher quality is autocratic in its nature. It may come in one shape to one, and it may go in another shape to another. It is so expansive and free in its nature. It is infinite. The infinite is the origin of those pastimes. We should always be prepared to accept whatever experience of the infinite may be granted to us. But we should not attempt to make the infinite an object of our experience. So we should be careful not to go with our mental conception or intellectual conception to approach. We have to always put ourselves in the passive state, in the Trinadapi Sanijana, that ought to be humble and tolerant. We must keep this attitude always. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. with this spirit and not out of curiosity, we must approach the process by the same token. By God's grace, we should not disbelieve everything unless and until we have the full experience and know every last detail. All this will be revealed to a pure devotee, but not through the process of going, that we are going up. We are, by our logic and by our intellectual capacities. You may know the whole Vedas, or the whole philosophy, or everything in this world, but this has nothing to do with the real thing, because this is everything on the mundane concept. This is mundane conception. We have to take the position of I do not know anything. I am helpless. I am depending on the Lord's mercy. He may or he may not bless me or engage me in his service, in his real service. So the finite cannot know the infinite. The finite cannot expect the whole infinity. Krishna will enter in within a tiny cell of awareness. But by our earnestness, Krishna comes down to touch the finite by his partial representation. When he is satisfied with our serving attitude, we should be always conscious of the fact that we are infinitesimal and cannot hope that the whole infinite will come within our fist. That is nonsense. Only follow the recommended path of Shraddha, faith. That is our serving attitude, surrender. Then whenever and whatever little experience he'll kindly make us taste, we shall taste. We should understand that that's the proper characteristics of a finite inquirer. Otherwise we will be over-endeavoring. If we cannot understand the plain truth that we are finite, then it is impossible to understand the infinite. We want to know the infinite, but we cannot make him the prisoner of our finite box. Only by our humble temperament can we attract him. As much as he kindly wills us to taste him, that should be enough for us. One drop will inundate the whole of the world. This is his nature. Can we be so audacious as to throw the infinite and force him to enter into our fist? That is suicidal. We must always be conscious of our own position. With a sober consideration, we shall try to understand the ways and means that are extended to us by the gracious great personalities. Very patiently and very modestly, and only when he wants to make it known to us, can we know anything. And only as much as he wants, we will know. That much and not more. That is our position. To know the whole thing is ludicrous, it is suicidal. That is the most foolish reactionary conception. Is there any comments or questions? You can follow. We should not hear everything. It is disturbing our mind, and doubts will arise. We have to hear and follow the examples of those who are members of this plane. That's because it is not, you will not find so much in YouTube, but they are also there. So, this is free will is given to all of us, you know. Even there are so many religious preachers. They are presenting their philosophical understanding or their realization. As we heard just before, it's saying that it is contaminated in many. It is not pure, all the things. It is very difficult. It is when we see forms, this material world, then we may get attached to these things. And when you get attached to anything of this external, even hearing what is not touching the soul, or is not coming from the higher plane, it is contaminating. It creates doubts. We don't have to know everyone's philosophy. No. The more advancement you make, you have to come to the conclusion that I do not understand anything. I am dependent on him. If I can surrender to him, if my desire to serve him is coming from my heart, I got a realization, a little realization that I am on the wrong place in this material world. This cannot be my real home. Then I should not wander and hear all different kinds. Of course, in the beginning you may read so many books. so many philosophies. I was reading from the very young age, all these philosophers and different mystics and religions. I was greedy to hear, to know, to understand. Till I got Bhagavad Gita, then I went to India and I was catched. So, as I was reading today in Prabhupada, his books, according to our past life, as far as we have gone there, we will continue in the next life. So we have to search, but when you have found it, then everything else falls. You will give up. And you may realize step by step. And the more we are realizing, realizing means if I realize just a drop, or like a flesh, Krishna reveals some tiny part, as he says here. And he wants to make us know, can we know anything? Srila Maharaj says here. So when the Lord makes you know, just in a moment, maybe like a flash, then all this external thing, all this gets vanished or goes away. And your focus only on one thing. And Babaji Maharaj said, our Gurudev said, you have to only concentrate on one thing. That's the only thing. You're not meditating about the Buddhists, about the any Mayavad philosophy or anything. There's only Krishna left. We should always keep Krishna. When Krishna is present, when I can focus my mind, it is not artificial. I will be attracted to this, step by step, more and more and more. Then I will understand things we cannot understand in our conditioned state now. So we have to go forward, and we have to become sincere. Otherwise we will continue in the next life, 10 lives, 100 lives. Don't think this is a joke, or this is the opinion of him or them. No. You will understand. You will understand very clearly. Of course, Shraddha is necessary, faith in the beginning. Most important, faith, surrender. That I must come to the conclusion, I have heard so many things, I have studied so many things. And I come to the conclusion I have not understood anything. I am not satisfied what we told. So different, that's because we should not hear from, I have no interest anymore to read like the books I was reading about Suzuki, the Zen Buddhism. I was reading the books of Lama Govinda, the very big books. I was reading the whole, this was like this, all the philosophers of Greek is Socrates, Epicure, and Aristotle, and so forth. I studied them. They understood something, but also some did not understood properly. Epicure, his philosophy was you enjoy as much as possible in this life, because after it is finished. So up to the last moment you I was not very enthusiastic to follow him. I know this cannot be the real thing. He has to die. What is this? And all this, so many books, that because we should not hear from those who have, or we should hear from those who have realized something about the reality, who are, by the blessing of Lord Gauranga and Guru, got realization. As Gurudev said, you are now member of the Achyuta Gotra. He told us, I don't know who, nobody was there, I think this was in Puri, he told. So, Achyuta Gotra means now you are family of the transcendental family, Krishna's family. And he told us also, you must know our family. You must know Nanda, Yashoda, Vishaka, Radha, and so forth. So, this was he spoke to in Vienna in the early years, 25 years or something like this, 22 years ago. And then we made these two pictures of hanging here, Astasaki, Astamanjalis, name and how they are dressed and how they are, what is their duties, what they are doing. And this, even Babaji's in Mayapur, they copied all, they hanging there in their Sadhu Maharaj, he made this in the computer. So he did nice service. Krishna worked through him. Of course, this is a high level, this we are not fit now. We do not know. We should only understand that we are members of the spiritual plane. We may be members of Vaikunta. There are unlimited spiritual planes planets, the Lord manifests in different forms, in different relations. And everybody has his home in one of these places. Something more to say? We can close here. If I get blessed by your mercy. Jai Srila Sitadev Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Jai Sri Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Guru Premanandi, Vansakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Manitam Bhavani Namo Namah.